The arrival. The alarm pierced through the bridge of unity like a scream. Ambassador Captain Zarek's secondary eyes snapped open as his tactical officer's voice cracked across the command deck.
Contact!
Massive energy signature detected at the border of Sector 7. Zarek's scaled hands gripped the armrests of his command chair. In his 300 cycles of service to the Galactic Concordat, he'd never heard that particular tone of fear in a veteran officer's voice. Show me. The holographic display materialized above the bridge pit, and every being present fell silent. It was massive, 15 kilometers of angular metal and composite armor, drifting through the void like a mountain torn from its world and cast into the stars. Energy readings pulsed across Zarek's screen, power output that rivaled a small sun, heat signatures indicating millions of active systems, and a gravitational displacement that suggested unthinkable mass. By the Founders, his science officer whispered, her feathers flattening against her skull in instinctive fear. Identification? Zarek forced his voice to remain steady. None, sir. No known configuration. No matching design in any database across all member species. A pause. Sir, nothing in the galaxy can build something like that. Zarek's mind raced. The Concordat had stood for 10,000 years precisely because they'd cataloged every spacefaring species, every ship design, every threat. This vessel existed outside that knowledge, and that made it the most dangerous thing in known space. Broadcast standard greetings on all frequencies. And get me the Council. Now. As his crew scrambled to comply, Zarek stared at the impossible ship on his display. Whoever or whatever had built it possessed technology that could reshape the balance of power across every world. And they had just entered Concordat space without warning, without permission, without fear of consequence. His translator officer looked up, confusion crossing her face. Sir, we're receiving a response, but it's strange. Strange how? The language is completely unknown. But they're broadcasting mathematical sequences, pictographic representations, even audio samples. She tilted her head. It's a first contact package. A very sophisticated one. Zarek's blood ran cold. They expected to meet us. This was planned. There's more, sir. His sensor officer's voice had gone quiet. We're detecting 11 more signatures. Same class, same energy output, spread across an area 50 light-years wide. 12 ships, 12 impossibilities. Zarek closed his tertiary eyes and made the hardest decision of his career. Transmit our position to the nearest battle fleet. Tell them we have a potential Category 5 existential threat. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. And inform them I'm going in for first contact, alone. His first officer's head snapped toward him. Sir, you can't. If they wanted us dead, Mora, we'd already be vapor. They're talking to us. That means something. He stood, straightening his formal sash. Perhaps it means everything. As his diplomatic shuttle launched toward the massive vessel, Zarek watched it grow larger in his viewport. Lights glittered across its hull like a city at night, because that's exactly what it was, he realized. Not a warship, not a carrier, a home, and as his shuttle drew closer, one detail finally resolved clearly on his forward display. Letters in an unknown script, etched into the hull in characters 3 meters tall. UNSC Indomitable. Whatever these beings were, wherever they'd come from, they had a name. They had language. They had purpose. The real question was, did they have mercy? The ghost ship captain. Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable, staring at the small alien craft approaching her ship. Behind her, the soft murmur of 2 million souls continued their daily lives, unaware that outside these walls, humanity had finally found what they'd been searching for. Captain, Lieutenant Morrison's voice crackled through her earpiece. The alien vessel is maintaining safe distance. No weapons lock. Their communication attempts have been remarkably patient. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They're scared. Ma'am? Wouldn't you be? A 15-kilometer ship appears out of nowhere, radiating more power than they've probably ever seen in one place. For all they know, we're here to glass their planets. She turned from the viewport. How long until the translation matrix is ready? Dr. Okafor says another 20 minutes. Apparently their language structure is unlike anything in our databases, which makes sense considering our databases were built for human languages. Sarah nodded slowly. 20 minutes. 20 minutes to prepare for the moment that would define humanity's future among the stars. No pressure. She walked through the observation deck, her boots silent on the deck plating. Around her, the daily life of the indomitable continued. Children played in the parks. Real grass grown under full-spectrum lights that mimicked Earth's sun. Vendors sold food from cultures that Earth had lost but humanity remembered. An old man sat on a bench feeding synthetic breadcrumbs to real pigeons whose ancestors had been brought aboard as eggs. This was what they'd saved. What they'd had to save when the sun began its early death spiral. She still remembered the calculations. The projections. The horrifying realization that humanity had less than 50 years before Earth became uninhabitable, and no way to evacuate 8 billion people. So they'd built the Titans. 12 massive vessels, each capable of sustaining millions of lives indefinitely. City ships, arc ships, the last, desperate gamble of a species that refused to simply lie down and die. And now, after 23 years of drifting through the dark, following every promising spectral analysis, every hint of habitable worlds, they'd found someone. The question was, would that someone let them stay? Captain Chen? Dr. Okafor's voice cut through her thoughts. Translation matrix is online. I'm patching them through now. Sarah straightened her uniform and activated her wrist display. The face that appeared was not what she'd expected. Reptilian features, yes. Scaled skin and patterns of deep blue and silver. 4 eyes, too large, too smaller. But the expression those eyes carried was unmistakably intelligent. Unmistakably worried. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UNSC Indomitable, representing the 12 fleets of humanity. We come in peace, seeking only dialogue and understanding. The alien blinked all 4 eyes in sequence, a gesture Sarah suspected meant surprise. When it spoke, the translation matrix rendered its voice as male, measured, and tired. I am Ambassador Captain Zarek of the Galactic Concordat. Captain Chen, I must ask you directly. What is your purpose here? Your vessel's capabilities suggest military force far beyond anything known to the Concordat. The Council demands answers before decisions are made that cannot be unmade. Sarah heard the weight behind those words. This being was trying to prevent a war. Ambassador, Captain, she began carefully. 23 years ago, our star began to die. We had no time to save our world, but we had time to save our people. The Indomitable and her sister ships carry the last of humanity. We're not conquerors. We're refugees. Zarek's smaller eyes narrowed. A calculation, perhaps. Refugees with weapons that could crack planets? Refugees who've spent 2 decades drifting through the void, Ambassador. We learned to defend ourselves because we had no choice. But defense is not aggression. She gestured to the viewport behind her. I'm transmitting our full technical specifications, our history, and our sincere request for asylum. We're not asking for charity. We can work, we can contribute, we can earn our place. We just need a chance. For a long moment, Zarek said nothing. Then, Captain Chen, the Concordat consists of 47 species across 2,000 worlds. In 10,000 years, we have never encountered a civilization of your technological level that was not either a member or a threat. Then perhaps, Sarah said softly, it's time you encountered something new. Not every powerful species seeks domination. Some just seek to survive. Zarek's expression shifted, something that might have been a smile on his alien features. You remind me of someone I knew once, another idealist who believed words could change the galaxy. He paused. She was right more often than anyone expected. Very well, Captain Chen. I will present your case to the Council. But I warn you, there are those who will call for your destruction simply because you exist. Fear is a powerful motivator. So is hope, Sarah replied. And we've carried hope across half the galaxy. We're not giving up on it now. As the communication ended, Sarah looked back at the observation deck. A young girl pressed her face against the transparent aluminum window, staring at the alien ship in wonder rather than fear. That's what they were fighting for. That chance for wonder. That future where a human child could see an alien vessel and smile. Behind her, Morrison cleared his throat. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts converging on our position. Large vessels, military configurations. Sarah nodded slowly. So it begins. Inform all decks. We maintain our current position. No aggressive moves, no weapons activation. We show them what humanity is, patient, peaceful, and absolutely unbreakable. Yes, ma'am. And if they fire? Sarah turned to face her bridge crew. Then we show them what humanity is when pushed, but not before. We didn't come this far to throw away everything on fear. We hold, we trust, we hope. And if hope isn't enough, she looked back at the alien fleet appearing on sensors, then at the observation deck where millions of humans lived, loved, and dreamed. Then we make it enough. Part 3. The Council of Fear. The council chamber of the galactic concordat was ancient, carved from a single asteroid over 6,000 years ago, every surface etched with the histories of 47 species who'd chosen cooperation over conflict. Today, that asteroid hummed with barely contained panic. Zarek stood in the center of the circular chamber, holographic representations of humanity's Titan-class vessels rotating above his head. Around him, the council members, representatives, from every major species in the concordat, watched with expressions ranging from fascination to outright terror. Counselor Thrace of Rin, whose species had built the concordat's first warships, broke the silence. Impossible. The energy requirements alone would necessitate matter-antimatter reactions on a scale we've never achieved. And they built 12 of these? 11, Zarek corrected. The 12th, the UNSC determination, was lost en route, caught in a gravitational anomaly. But yes, Counselor, they built these vessels in less than 30 standard cycles. A Keltheran counselor, all feathers and sharp eyes, leaned forward. 30 cycles? We couldn't build a single carrier in that time. What kind of industrial capacity does that imply? The kind born of desperation, Zarek replied softly. He pulled up another hologram. Earth. Beautiful blues and greens marred by visible atmospheric scarring. Their star was dying. They had a choice: save their world or save their people. They chose their people. How many? Counselor Vren asked, her crystalline voice echoing through the chamber. Each Titan carries between 1.5 and 2.2 million individuals. Conservative estimate, 22 million humans in total spread across 11 vessels. The chamber erupted. 22 million of them, with that technology, could overwhelm our defensive perimeter in days. Never seen such power. Concentration. Enough! High Counselor Moravix's voice cut through the chaos like a blade. The ancient Thorn's forearms spread wide, demanding silence. We are the Galactic Concordat. We do not panic. We do not make decisions from a place of fear. His eyes fixed on Zarek. You've spoken with them. What is your assessment, Ambassador Captain? Zarek had known this question would come. He'd spent the entire journey back to the council preparing his answer. They're terrified. That stopped the murmuring. Explain, Moravix commanded. They've been drifting for 23 years. They've watched their home die from a distance. They've lost one entire ship, 2 million souls to the void. And now they've stumbled into alien space with no idea if we'll help them or destroy them. Zarek pulled up the image of Sarah Chen. This is their commander, Captain Sarah Chen. Do you know what she did when our battle fleet arrived at her position? Activated weapons, Thrace guessed. Prepared to run, suggested another. She held position, Zarek said quietly. She powered down her weapons, sent her civilians to the ship's center for protection, and waited. She trusted that we would speak before we fired, that we were better than her fear suggested. Counselor Vren's crystalline form chimed softly. And if we're not? If we decide these humans are too dangerous to allow into concordat space? Then, we become exactly what we've spent 10,000 years fighting against, Zarek replied. We become the thing that destroys intelligence because we're afraid of it. This isn't about fear. Thrace slammed a scaled fist on his console. This is about survival. One of their ships could take on half our fleet. 11 of them could... Could what? Zarek interrupted. Conquer us? If they wanted conquest, Thrace, they could have done it already. We didn't detect them until they were already inside our borders. They could have struck at any of 100 undefended colonies before we even knew they existed. Maybe they're just being strategic, a counselor muttered, waiting for us to lower our guard. Zarek felt his temper fraying. Or maybe, and consider this carefully, they're exactly what they say they are, refugees seeking asylum. Not every powerful species is a threat. Some are just trying to survive. High Counselor Moravix raised a hand and silence fell once more. You believe them. Why? Zarek thought of Sarah Chen's face. The way her voice had carried hope despite everything. The way she'd spoken about her people, not as assets or weapons, but as people, lives worth saving. Because I saw inside their ship, Counselor. While we were establishing communication protocols, they invited me to observe their daily life. Do you want to know what I saw? He didn't wait for an answer. Parks, schools, markets, families. I watched a human child, no more than 6 cycles old, share her food with a stranger. I saw elders teaching younglings about their history, their culture, their art. I saw a species that has every reason to be hard, cruel, and desperate, and instead found them still trying to be kind. He paused, letting that sink in. I saw a memorial wall, counselors, 3 kilometers long. Every name engraved in metal. Every person lost when Earth's evacuation fell short. When the determination was destroyed. When the early years of the journey took their toll. 23 million names. And beneath them a single phrase in every human language. We remember. We survive. We hope. The chamber was silent now. They didn't have to show me that. Zarek continued. They could have presented only strength, only capability, only threat. Instead, they showed me their grief, their loss, their humanity. He looked at each counselor in turn. If we destroy them because we are afraid, we don't deserve the peace we've built. We become the monsters they were afraid we'd be. Thrace shook his head. Beautiful words, Zarek, but words won't save us if these humans decide they want our worlds more than our friendship. Then we make them a better offer, Moravix said suddenly. Every head turned to the High Counselor. We give them what they've been searching for, a home. Multiple homes, we integrate them into the Concordat slowly, carefully, with safeguards, but we do it. You can't be serious. Thrace stood. The risk is acceptable, Moravix finished. Compared to the cost of becoming murderers, the Concordat was founded on a simple principle. Cooperation leads to survival. Perhaps it's time we remember that. He turned to Zarek. Ambassador Captain, you will return to the humans with an offer. We will allow 3 of their vessels, the Indomitable and 2 others of their choosing, to enter Concordat space under escort. We will provide them with detailed surveys of uninhabited but habitable worlds, and we will watch. If they prove trustworthy, the others may follow. If not, he left the rest unsaid. Zarek felt relief wash through him. It will be done, High Counselor. But I have one request. Speak. Let it not just be me who goes. Send others, scientists, diplomats, families if they're willing. Let us show the humans that we're not just tolerating them. We're welcoming them. Let us show them what the Concordat truly is. Moravix's ancient eyes gleamed. A bold suggestion, but perhaps boldness is what this moment requires. He addressed the council. Who among you would volunteer to join Ambassador Captain Zarek in greeting our new neighbors? For a long moment, no one moved. Then Counselor Vren's crystalline form chimed forward. I will go. The humans deserve to see that not all of us fear them. One by one, others followed. A Keltharian scientist, a Vren engineer, a Thorn philosopher. Zarek watched in amazement as a delegation formed, beings from a dozen species, each choosing curiosity over fear. Then it's decided, Moravix declared. Ambassador Captain Zarek, take your delegation and make humanity understand. They are no longer alone in the dark. They are home. As Zarek bowed and left the chamber, he allowed himself a moment of hope. Perhaps this would work. Perhaps humanity and the Concordat could find common ground. He just prayed that nothing would happen to shatter that fragile hope before it had a chance to grow. The Mistake Junior pilot. Kren's hands trembled on the flight controls of his patrol interceptor. This was supposed to be a routine border sweep, his third solo assignment since graduating from the academy. Easy. Boring, even. His flight commander had joked that the most exciting thing he'd encounter would be a wayward comet. No one had mentioned the mountain floating in space, ahead of him. The UNSC Indomitable dominated his viewport, 15 kilometers of impossible engineering that made his interceptor feel like a dust mite, buzzing around a predator. His sensors screamed warnings, energy signatures, weapons ports, armor thick enough to shrug off anything in his arsenal. He'd read the briefings, knew that High Counselor Moravix had authorized peaceful contact, knew that Ambassador Captain Zarek was somewhere on that massive vessel right now, conducting final negotiations before the humans entered concordate space. But knowing something and believing it were two different things. His comm crackled. Interceptor 7, maintain your patrol corridor. Do not approach the human vessel. K-copy command. Kren hated how his voice shook. Maintaining distance. But then his proximity alarm screamed. A massive bay door on the Indomitable's flank was opening. Something was launching, no, multiple somethings. His sensors struggled to classify them. Fighter-sized, heavily armed, moving in formation with precision that suggested military training. His training took over. Threat assessment. Priority protocols. His hands moved before his brain caught up. Weapons lock. The targeting computer chirped happily as it painted the lead human craft. His finger hovered over the firing stud, not pressing, just ready. Just prepared. That's all he was doing, being prepared. On the bridge of Unity, Zarek was reviewing the final integration protocols when his tactical officer's voice cut through the quiet efficiency. Sir, we have a problem. One of our patrol interceptors has locked weapons on a human shuttle. Zarek's blood froze. What? Interceptor 7, junior pilot, probably panicked. He hasn't fired, but the humans will have detected the lock. The tactical officer's voice rose. Sir, the Indomitable is powering weapons. Multiple systems coming online across all 15 kilometers. Open a channel. Now, Zarek barked. But he was already too late. On the Indomitable, Captain Sarah Chen watched the tactical display with a sick feeling in her gut. Confirmed weapons lock from the alien interceptor, Morrison reported, his voice tight. Single craft. Light armament. Probably couldn't scratch our paint. But that doesn't matter, Sarah finished. One shot, one scared pilot. That's all it would take to turn this fragile piece into a slaughter. Power up point defense. Target lock on the interceptor, but do not fire. Send a message, we're ready to defend ourselves, but we're not attacking. The Indomitable's weapons hummed to life. Across the hull, point defense turrets tracked the tiny interceptor with computer precision. One shot from any of them would vaporize the small craft. Kren saw death arrive on his display. 47 separate targeting locks. 47 weapons that could end him in an eye blink. The human ship had gone from passive to ready to kill in seconds. His finger tightened on the firing stud. Don't. The voice on the emergency channel was calm, female, speaking in accented but clear concordate standard. Please don't make this worse. We don't want to hurt you. Kren's hand shook harder. This was it. The moment that would define his career and possibly start a war that would kill billions. Fire first, save himself and his species, or trust that the monster in front of him truly didn't want blood. In the concordate command center, a dozen voices shouted recommendations. Order him to disengage. Send the fleet. Can't let this escalate. Already too late. High Counselor Moravix's voice cut through the chaos. All ships, hold position. All crews, stand down. If we surge forward now, the humans will interpret it as an attack. Everyone just hold. And if the pilot fires, someone asked. Moravix closed his eyes. Then we pray the humans show more restraint than we did. On the Indomitable, Sarah watched the interceptor on her display. She could see it trembling. Actual mechanical vibration from the pilot's nerves. A scared kid in a flying coffin pointing a pea shooter at a dreadnought. She'd been that scared kid once. First deployment. First combat. First time staring at something that could kill her without effort. She remembered the choice she'd made. Trust or terror. Morrison, she said quietly. Power down weapons. All of them, ma'am. You heard me. Power down. Show him we're not the threat. Captain, with respect, that's insane. He could still. He won't. Sarah's voice carried absolute certainty. He's terrified. We all see it. If we stand down, he'll stand down. If we stay locked, someone's going to make a mistake that kills millions. Morrison hesitated, then, all weapons powering down. We're defenseless. The tactical board went dark. Kren watched in disbelief as the targeting locks vanished one by one. 47 death sentences rescinded. The massive human vessel sat there utterly vulnerable, making itself into a target, trusting him not to shoot. His finger lifted from the firing stud. I'm disengaging, he whispered into the comm. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay, the human voice replied. Sarah Chen's voice, he would later learn. It's okay to be afraid. We're all afraid, but we don't have to let fear win. Go home, pilot. Tell them what you saw. We could have killed you, but we didn't. We chose peace. We'll keep choosing peace for as long as you let us. Kren's interceptor turned and fled, engine screaming as he put distance between himself and the impossible moment he'd somehow survived. In the command center, Moravix released a breath he hadn't known he was holding. In the Bridge of Unity, Zarek slumped in his chair, trembling. On the Indomitable, Sarah Chen allowed herself 5 seconds of relief before straightening her uniform and turning to her crew. Contact Ambassador Captain Zarek. Tell him we're ready to proceed with integration protocols, and someone get me Junior Pilot Kren's service record. I want to send him a message, ma'am, Morrison asked. He'll be dealing with nightmares about this. People will call him a coward for not firing. I want him to know he's a hero. The moment when he chose not to shoot, that took more courage than any battle I've ever fought. Make sure he knows that. As the bridge crew scrambled to comply, Sarah looked out at the gathered Concordat fleet, at the alien ships that had come so close to opening fire, at the fragile peace that had nearly shattered, and she smiled. Because humanity had come to the galaxy offering hope, and today for the first time the galaxy had offered hope back. That was worth any risk. Any fear, any threat, that was worth everything.